If you're a beginner to yoga and you want to increase your spinal flexibility, my name is Katie and I am more than happy to guide you through this practice, which is a beginner's practice yoga for spinal flexibility. So we're going to get started in a pose called Tabletop Pose. So you're coming onto all fours. Have your fingers spread really wide apart and have your wrists directly below your shoulders, your knees directly below your hips, so you're stacking all your joints on top of each other here. Then once you're there, we'll move into a few rounds of cat and cow. So this is the ultimate exercise to increase your spinal flexibility. When you're ready, you're taking a breath in and pointing your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Drop your belly towards your mat, bring your chest slightly forward and then look up. And as you exhale, point your tailbone down, round your spine so you're almost pulling your belly button towards your spine. Tuck your chin to your chest and drop your head down. Next inhale, tailbone points back up. Belly drops down, chest comes forward, eyes look up. Exhale, tailbone pointing down, round your spine, tuck your chin to your chest and drop your head. So keep going a few more at your own pace. Each inhale takes you up to cow pose with your eyes looking up, and each exhale rounds you down into cat with your chin tucked to your chest. Now, when you're ready, you can come back to a neutral spine. If your wrists need a little bit of a break here, you can just lean back, take the weight off them. Yoga can be hard on the wrists, especially when you're a beginner, but with practice, I find that you build up strength and it definitely does get easier. So with that said, put your hands back to your mat. This time your hands are a little bit more to the front of your mat. Curl your toes. Remember, fingers are spread wide apart here. Lift your knees and then start to drag your hips up and back so you come into downward facing dog. Now don't worry how this pose looks. If you're a beginner, it's probably not too much like an upside down V shape, but that's okay. We'll try our best here. So you can paddle out your feet if you need to, just stretch through the backs of your legs. Then when you're ready, try to point your tailbone up, just like we were doing in cow pose. Release your head towards your mat, so maybe your ears are in line with your biceps. You can have a big bend in your knees here and try to keep your spine as straight as it can be. So keep pointing that tailbone up. Keep pushing yourself away from your hands and just take a few big breaths in here. Doing really good work here to lengthen that spine, to release all the muscles along your back. We'll take one more big breath in. And as you exhale, you can bring your knees back down onto your mat. From here, we'll come to lie on the front of the body. So come on down to lie on your belly. When you're there, we're coming into Crocodile Pose. So you might stack your hands on top of each other. Then rest a cheek or your forehead onto your hands. Bring your big toes to touch each other and let your heels drop out towards the edges of your mat. You can close your eyes here. We're just going to take a few breaths, just relaxing. Allow the back of your body to completely flop here. . Now we'll bring ourselves back to come into baby cobra. So your feet are together and where your shoelaces would be are pressed into your mat. Your palms can come next to your chest and you can have your forehead down on your mat here. Then with a breath in, start to peel your head and chest up off your mat, maybe allowing your hands to come and hover up off the mat as well. Keep pressing your feet down, that's going to help you to lift a little bit higher. Then with each breath in, you're being lifted up. Try not to drop down as you exhale here. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Just a few more breaths here. You can do it. Last big breath in, maybe you can lift a little bit higher. And then with an exhale, bring everything back to your mat. Come back into Crocodile Pose. Big toes finding each other again. And just let everything rest and reset here. Now this time we'll come into extended cobra. So you can widen your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Palms come back next to your chest. This time your hands will stay on the mat. So you might press your finger pads down into the mat. Then with a breath in, start to scoop your upper body up so you come into extended cobra. Now your elbows can stay bent here. Shoulders relaxed away from your ears. Don't worry about how far you're coming up here. We don't worry about how it looks. You're just focusing on how it feels. You can look straight out in front, or if you're feeling extra flexible, you could gaze diagonally up. Just a few breaths here. So send each breath all the way down along your spine, all the way to your tailbone, and then with each exhale you're getting rid of tension. One more full breath in here, and then exhale, you're coming back down, slowly bringing everything back to your mat. Come into your crocodile pose, big toes connecting, resting on your pillow, and just let your body digest the poses that we've done. We'll prepare from here to make our way into child's pose. So you can bring your palms back next to your chest. Slowly start to lift yourself up and then drag your hips back towards your heels, having your knees together. So if the hips don't sit back onto the heels, that's normal. You can always have a cushion or a rolled up blanket and just put it in underneath. And then your hands will reach towards the front of your mat, or they can come back to rest next to your feet with your palms faced up. Forehead then making its way towards its mat. Alternatively here, if your forehead doesn't make it to the mat, you can always make a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead onto your pillow. So we've come into a really great pose here for your spine. As you can feel it starting to round over your legs. So just let gravity do the work. Let your body get heavier. And just let the spine round itself here. Each breath in, doming your spine a little bit more. And then maybe you can get a little bit smaller on each breath out. When you're ready to come out of child's pose, take a breath in and start to lift yourself up. And then from here, you can come into a cross-legged seat on your mat. So if you're a beginner, even if you're not a beginner, it can be really hard to sit on the mat. So if you're finding this hard, you can take a cushion or a pillow or a yoga block if you have them and sit up on it here. And we'll end our practice with a few spinal twists. So a really great way to get that flexibility into your spine. So when you're ready, take a big breath in, lift both hands up, and then as you exhale, rotate towards the left, dropping your left hand back to the floor behind you. Right hand is hooked in behind that left knee. Maybe you can slowly look back behind you. Next, inhale, reaching the hands back up. Exhale to rotate towards the right, and then same thing, slowly looking back behind you. We're going to do a few more like that, so move at your own pace. Inhale to reach up, exhale to twist. Each time you breathe in, you're taking in what it is that you want. And each time you breathe out, you're getting whatever you don't want to take with you out of the body. You can finish once you have twisted to your right again. Come back to center. Take your right hand onto the mat to the right beside you. Look at your left hand and do a big rainbow all the way across. Keep looking up at that left thumb. Keep your chest shining up towards the sky here. Try not to collapse in on yourself. Stretching all through the side of the body here, getting that nice spinal stretch. We'll switch now, left hand to the left. Right hand rainbowing, looking up at your right thumb. Remember, chest is shining up. We'll do one more on each side. And when you're ready, you can come back to center. Thanks so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this spinal flexibility practice for beginners. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up below. I would really appreciate that. And I would love if you could subscribe to the channel because I really love practicing yoga and I would love to do it with you again in the future. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you soon.